Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next podcast. I believe this is number 7. We are joined today by PaulDespawn, one of the Kwalee crew members. Very, very happy to have him here. Now, Paul, if you could give us just a little introduction about what your content is, what you like to do the most, and also where people can find you after the podcast.
Yeah, of course. So for me, hello, hi, I'm PaulDespawn. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch, YouTube. I do also create content on YouTube, TikTok, all the places. Generally, I like to focus on a lot of open world survival titles and just fun indie experiences as well. My tagline for my content has always been, I play games to bring me joy. So I want to bring that joy to others. So it's all about celebrating video games, all the fun aspects of it all. A lot of reviews, guides, just previews, things like that. You can find me literally everywhere at PaulDespawn. I made sure to get the branding in place.
Of course. I saw that's on your YouTube banner. Mm-hmm. Just Google PaulDespawn and you'll pop up, which is always good. Now, I have noticed recently you like to do a lot of reviews.
Yes.
Indie game reviews. What is it about indie games that you really sort of that makes you enjoy playing them, reviewing them, sort of giving your thoughts on them?
For me, it's mainly, I think that the magic in like the creation of video games is always found in indie titles more than anywhere else. It's all well and good like having like 100-man studio to work on the next AAA game, and they're always fantastic to me. Don't get me wrong. But there's something about that magic of getting like either a single creator or like a small team together with limited budget and just coming out with some of the best ideas ever. I think like those are the experiences that I always enjoy the most. I think they're always the most unique that you get out of video games. And it's just, it's finding that unique nature in the medium of video games is always the most fun to dig into.
Especially, I suppose, when there's so many games now, right? There's so many indie titles that to find that unique feature or USP is special, right? When it's found.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah, when you find like that magic, as we say, there's that little nugget of joy in a game that just does something that hasn't been done anywhere else, and like captures the imagination. I think is one of the best things about indie games.
Yeah. Cool. So we're going to take things all the way back. I want to talk about when you first started enjoying games. Mm-hmm. Was it I know for me, it was an escapism. I don't know for you. What was that like? What drew you to games in the beginning?
I mean, same thing, escapism. It was, I mean, I don't want to get too negative on the whole my childhood, but like it wasn't a fun time, so I looked for experiences and ways to escape those, and video games were just there and were perfect. Again, I'm not going to age myself too much, but I remember one Christmas I got the grey brick of a Game Boy, and that like opened up so many worlds to me. Being able to I remember one of my earliest childhood memories as a gamer is going backwards and forwards with my mother, trying to beat the highest score on Tetris. And it's just that little fun competitive edge I had with my mum was, I think, something that like just instilled that love straight away. And then finding games like Pokemon and just like, that blew my mind. And then, obviously getting into the bigger consoles. But I think it all started with that Game Boy for me.
You mentioned playing with your mum. Was that an important factor in your gaming experience as you were growing, that you could share that with your family?
I don't know if it wasn't an ongoing thing, but like it was definitely like an early memory that like stuck with me, and like again, it was that joy of like going backwards and forwards is something that definitely stuck with me. And I think it was always the fun in the experience rather than like the difficulty and anything like that. I always went back to that. Like I remember being able to beat that high score that was set by her, and like it's just that little adrenaline pump that you get from beating a video game, and I think that is something that I've chased ever since, I think.
Okay. So through the teenage years, going to school and things like this, how was that? Did you have friends that enjoyed games? Were you sort of an outlier there? Did you keep it to yourself?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of an outlier on that one. Definitely, like you say, it was an escapism, like coming home and being able to. Again, I'm going to keep aging myself for this entire thing, but when I finally got like the 16-bit days of like firing up the Master System or the Mega Drive, and jumping into the world of Sonic and things like that. It was definitely an escapism for me. That was like my own little joy to jump into after a long day at school.
Yeah. Um, for me, it was, as we say, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I had a small group of friends that played games, things like World of Warcraft, and before that, Star Wars Galaxies, before that, EverQuest, Freelancer, all these sorts of games. How was that within the game? Did you get to build sort of a community or find friends through games? Or was it very much you played for yourself and exploring it on your own?
Initially, it was for myself, just like I say, that just those experiences that I wanted to go chasing for myself. But as I got older and things like with the original Xbox and Xbox Live, when that finally came into play, like that was the time when I started making friends online. And I've got a community of people that I play with that I still play with to this day. That we are always jumping into the next FPS or whatever the co-op game is of choice.
Yeah, I saw you streaming.
Always...
I saw you streaming Fortnite the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Saturday, Sunday?
This Sunday, yeah.
Sunday.
Oh no, that'd be Wednesday, I think that one. Yeah. So I do Wednesdays, which is a co-op day we do, and then Sundays is just, I think this Sunday was Resident Evil.
That was it.
But yeah.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I do enjoy those co-op experiences. Like I say, I've got a friend who we stream with regularly, where we're always doing the co-op stuff together, and I think it's like you say, it's a new part of that passion that's been reignited. I think has been a ton of fun again to get into.
Okay, so we talked about sort of teenage years, getting into games, very much a solo experience until sort of the almost like these companies forced you to be with people.
I know, right?
For me, I enjoyed the sort of the co-op, the team. I'm a support player, so I need people. So I very much liked having people around, but there is something to the solo experience of the escape. For me, Oblivion was big for that.
Yeah.
Being able to sort of explore those worlds and lose yourself. I remember there was a time before you could sort of like play together on one, over the internet. I would take my Xbox to my friend's house. We'd set up 2 TVs and we'd play Oblivion together. I remember his dad came in the morning and said, off to work. Almost 10 minutes later, it seemed, he opened the door and said, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" And I think that was such a great thing about these games, right? You could just lose yourself and really enjoy the worlds that were built.
100%, yeah.
So moving forward into, I suppose, did you go to university? Was that the
path? No. So I was, very much high school, straight into work. And then used work to pay for my addiction to video games.
And how did that sort of, how have they meshed during the years? Have you found that games got in the way of work, or did work sometimes make it difficult to play games? How was that?
No, because again, like I say, we've been primarily a solo player, being able to jump in when and wherever I wanted without worrying about having to get the squad together, was made it quite easy. But then having like the squads for the weekend was always good. But yeah, no, like I say, work has always been very much, and again, it's probably not the healthiest way to live your life, but it's always been work to pay for the things that I enjoy and try and do those things more.
Yeah.
So it's very much like my jobs have always been to pay for the shiny things that I want and need. The bills, I guess, they're important too, but yeah, it's always very much like,
as long
I need that shiny console.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you can log in and play, that's the main thing.
Exactly. What about yourself? Like, what was it for you?
I have a very strange journey. So, as I say, a friend of mine played World of Warcraft a lot, and that's what got me into more, I guess, hardcore gaming.
Oh yeah, I did the Warcraft thing when I was younger. I think it was the Burning Crusade.
Yeah, Burning Crusade. What great times. So, and we had more time right then. We had more time to be able to explore and play.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much sort of the World of Warcraft thing. I played a lot of Call of Duty. I don't really play FPSs anymore, but played a lot of Call of Duty when game battles was a thing.
Yeah.
Played with a friend there. But then I left to go to acting school, and there was no time. There was no time to play games. I took a little laptop with me, like a 14, 15 inch, can't remember, it's tiny. I could play every League of Legends every now and then. But apart from that, sort of went away from gaming. Still tried to keep up with it as and when I could. But then sort of mid-20s, sort of coming back to England, just straight back into it, like I never left. It was a great time. But yeah, I think gaming with me, it's a strange thing. It has evolved, but I'm still the same. I don't know about you, but I still feel like I'm the same 17, 18-year-old gamer. Maybe my mentality is strong. My mental's stronger now, getting older.
Yeah.
But I'm still the same, starry-eyed. When I see a new trailer for something or when a game comes out, I'm still that same enjoyment. How's that for you?
Oh, 100%. Like when there's nothing quite like seeing that awesome set piece in a video game that just makes you feel that childlike joy of just like the wonder of like, how have they pulled this off? How has it been amazing? And I think that's what drives me to video games all the time.
So it's interesting, your pathway in are these unique moments in these indie games that are you're like, wow, how did you do this? This is amazing. For me, it's the worlds that are created. It's I think it's a different entry into gaming, which I think is really cool that there's different ways. Like you either see something like that, super magical, I really enjoy this feature and it brings me in. Or, as I say for myself, it's about the world, the being able to, I want to log in and forget and just live in the world. So I think it's really cool that gaming has that so many different pathways in. And for so many different people. But even with all those pathways, normally when you go to conventions or talk to other gamers, there's still that common thread. There's still that sort of, even if you've never spoken to the person before, you understand. We understand each other on a different.
It's like it's another one of my other passions is music, but there's very much like it's so much like there's a understanding of like appreciate like if like you appreciate a certain band, like it doesn't matter who you are, if you have a love for a certain band or a certain music, like you could just click with somebody. And I think it's the same with gaming. Like if you love video games, like if you find another gamer, you're going to click on some level. There's always something that you can get, like that common thread between you.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I love about it.
Except horror game players.
Okay,
understand them.
Yeah, they we need to talk. Like, are you okay?
Yeah, exactly. What's going on? Do we need to sit down?
Yeah, do we need a moment?
Yeah. So let's now move into. Well, I wanted to talk briefly on AI. You mentioned you mentioned trailers and sort of seeing these incredible things, etc. I saw recently a beer company did a commercial that was all AI.
Right.
And I'll play a bit of it over this. It was scary, not in a good way. Things like their hands were like and they were drinking weird things, but it's come to this point where, it was not great, but also not terrible.
Yeah.
So with game trailers, do you think ultimately in 5 years' time, we're going to get into a point where trailers are going to become even more epic because the time investment is less because of AI?
I reckon maybe, yeah. And I welcome it. Like anything that makes it easier for the developers, but also gives us those excitement factors and stuff like that. I think, I'm kind of 50-50 on AI. I think there is it's like any tool. If you use it properly and ethically, I think it's fantastic. But there is definitely a boundaries to those things, and I think there's a worry when you step over those marks. But as I say, if you give the developers the tools to do their jobs easier and without skimping on quality, I totally welcome it. And I think, I'm very excited to see what these people do with that technology. And hopefully it is easy for them. And it just kind of like, I've seen like some of the engine breakdowns and things like that with Unreal 5 and things like that. They've been working on that.
That's a great point, sort of Unreal 5 and the things that they'll be able to do because of AI. I think not only the things they'll be able to do, but the machines, it'll be easier on your machine because of the way it works. It won't be so intensive. And I think that's the problem when I look at all these incredible, when they change, I don't know, the world of change World of Warcraft into sort of like Unreal 5, or you see things like Ashes of Creation and games like this, where I think it's great, but my computer is going to have to play this on, mid to low.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be good to get to that point where AI can make things in the back end easier as well.
Yeah, I look forward to. I think the combination of a lot of technologies out there is what's exciting for me. Again, because my nerdiness doesn't just revolve around games; it revolves around tech in general.
Cool.
I like the idea of like combining like next gen graphics and gameplays and engines. Stick that with cloud gaming and AI tech, and just like the possibilities, what the future holds for video games. I don't think we've hit our stride even yet.
Yeah.
I look forward to the future and see what, like, again, give all that technology to the hand of developers and see what kind of magic they can make with that. Is very exciting to me.
So talking about tech then, I can see in your room lots of RGBs, things like this.
Yeah.
Are you a home automation guy? If so, what company do you go with?
I'm not a massive automation guy. I like the aesthetics of it all, but I don't automate a lot of it. When it comes to the streaming tech, I'm very much like, the cliche answer, but it's true, is Elgato. I think their hardware and software is like, it's a premium. I don't want to say expensive because you pay for what you get, but it is a premium product, and I think they do fantastic stuff. Yeah, being able to sync that with other tech as well is great, and linking it into my stream stuff as well is always fun.
Let's move to content creation.
Yes.
So, firstly, how did it begin? Were there people you watched that you thought, "Oh, that's really cool. I'd like to do that," or was it just "Hey, I want to play games, and if people want to come and watch me, that's cool"? How was that? How was the beginning of it?
All of the above. Okay. But no, yeah. So basically, I think like a lot of people, it started at the beginning of the lockdown with COVID. So around 2019. So I just come back from my wedding in New York, and basically we landed. We're planning our honeymoon, and then actually, you're not leaving the country for 3 years. So yeah, so very much a case of like I was stuck in the house, working from home. I had all this extra free time, and while working, I basically watched things like YouTube and Twitch, and started just like loving that experience. There was a couple of creators specifically. There was one that I currently mod for now, which is an MC Fixer, who does a lot of currently does a lot of the GTA roleplay stuff and things like that, which is a ton of fun to watch. But yeah, so things like him, and then finding like bigger companies like Kind of Funny and things like that, and seeing them create content. It was just like, it's something I've always loved watching. Yeah. But seeing him have that like direct connection with people live is just something I've not seen before, and something I've missed from my old band days of being able to like connect with people. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And I also like raising money for charity and things like that. So I was looking for an excuse to be able to do something that could A, help people, and B, I found fun. So bringing that love of video games, doing charity streams and things like that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it just kind of like spiraled from there, which is like where it's come to now, where I'm doing YouTube content, shorts content, reviews, co-op stuff, and all sorts of everything in between. But yeah,
there are so many questions there. So
go.
First, when did you start watching Twitch? Did you watch it when it was just in TV, Xfire, or did you come in a bit later?
So I came in a bit late. I think my account is about 7 years old. But I only started using it like maybe 5 years ago. Okay, so again, It was very much just like, very late to the party on that one, I think. But it was very much just a case of just like passive watching, catching the odd stream every now and again. And it wasn't until like, say, lockdown days that I'd started like watching a lot of people full time.
Okay. And a band. Now,
yes,
this was passed in the office, I think a week ago or a week and a half ago, of when you were in a band.
Okay.
What was what went on there? Like, so you've always been into music. Was this sort of like a band that you started with some work colleagues or people you knew, or how did that come about?
So I've been in various bands throughout my years. So the first main band I was in was very much just a bunch of friends. We were talking about it. We all had mutual music tastes. It was like I had a friend who played guitar. We found a drummer. We all got together, and it was very much just like I love my metal, so it was like very much like hardcore metal. Just a bunch of friends playing music just for the fun of it. That lasted about 3-4 years until one of them had to move away, unfortunately. So yeah, but then gave it a couple of years down the line where I had another bunch of friends who were in like bands around the similar time who'd formed a band and needed a singer. So they reached out to me. I was like, you know what? I've not done it for a couple of years, but I'll give it a go. Different genre, different type of music, still heavy because it's all I can do. But so it was just a case of just getting together with them, and then that one thing led to another. I ended up playing a few festivals, touring around Europe, and then eventually stepped away from that. But that was a fun few years as well.
You sort of talked about how you got into sort of the content game, and for watching these streams as well, Twitch and stuff. It's crazy that it was only 4 or 5 years ago that you really started watching. That's wild. For me, it's like TV.
Yeah. Where
people relax when they watch their favorite show. I sit down and watch Towley play World of Warcraft and things like that. So I think that's really cool. And it's also sort of talking about the escapism of games. Another outlet like that, I think, where you can sit down and watch these streams, and maybe you're not playing, but you are exploring the world with someone, with a friend. That's sort of, I suppose, the streamer game is like you, in a way, you become, sort of friends with the people watching, and you sort of build that community together, and you experience things together, sort of through you playing, right? How have you enjoyed it so far then? Firstly, just the streaming side of things, live, talking with chat and sort of playing. How is that experience?
Fun, like, again, so unique. I don't think there's anything quite like it. Like you said there, it's nice to be able, it's like watching a TV show, but it's a TV show that you can directly interact with. In some instances, it could just be chatting to the main actor, as it were. But other times, it could be you could directly affect the games. And I think I've loved having that kind of relationship with the community of either whether it be playing co-op games together or playing a single-player game and experiencing that story together, or them bullying me by clipping out those horrible moments where I've died horrendously 12 times in a row. Thank you, Resident Evil. But like there's nothing quite like it, and I think that's why I fell in love with it so much, because it's such a unique experience, and being able to share that with strangers around the world who you can again, there's a worrying trend of like the parasocial relationship, but like there are genuine friends I've made through streaming that I don't think I would have done if it wasn't for things like Twitch. And it's just an experience unlike any other.
Exactly. And it's very interesting you saying you started at the beginning of lockdown. My journey was very similar, actually. So I streamed years ago, just to, I think, have a stream of me on my laptop at a friend's house. I don't know what we were playing, but I wasn't interacting. I was just turn the stream on and thought, oh, this would be fun. Because I'd watched Twitch since I was maybe 17, 18, so a good 13, 14 years now. But beginning of lockdown, my thought process was, people are at home. If I'm a gamer who's sort of, how can I put it? If I'm a introvert and I'm locked in, don't know what's going on, I'm going to watch to sort of like be able to interact with people. I wanted to be that for people. So that's how I started. And it was a weird thing. I don't know if you have this, where if I didn't turn up to stream, I felt like I was letting people down.
Oh, 100%. I definitely I try to be very punctual with things. So even if I'm like 10 minutes late to a stream, I feel bad. So when I'm missing a day, when I've planned things, it's like, I do feel bad about that. And it is, like I say, it's that relationship with the community that, is great, but also it does have that added pressure every now and again. It's like, definitely like know that although streamers there to entertain and educate and, be a connection and a community, they can't be everything. So definitely go to the professionals for those kind of things.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
don't know what I'm doing with my hands.
It's because you're passionate about what you're talking about.
Yes, no, definitely 100%. Yeah.
So talking more on the content, obviously
Mhm.
doing reviews and things like this, doing the shorts, the TikToks. Are you on things like Reels? Have you looked at Snapchat? I think it's sort of something that's starting to grow. Have you looked at there's another platform that's arising called Clapper. Maybe something to look at.
Okay.
What are your yeah? Basically, what I've been reading and sort of learning about it is they are waiting for the moment that TikTok gets banned somewhere,
Okay.
because I think they've hit like 1 million plus, people downloaded already. It's very, very what's the word? Featureless, but
Right.
it's waiting. It's in the wings. But there's all these different platforms, and obviously as a solo creator, it's hard to be on all of them. And of course, recycling content is a big thing. Like this,
Oh yeah.
this podcast is probably going to show up on everything in different sizes, shapes, and all sorts of things.
Hi,
Do you?
TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Do you do that a lot? Do you think about that, or do you try and make content specifically for different things?
No, so I try well, depending on the avenue, there are like a long form content specifically definitely is geared towards a specific platform. So I do specific things for YouTube. Twitch is its own separate thing as well. But I do try and plan around what I'm doing to make that short form content. So yeah, very much so like Twitch clips recycled into short form content. I use a lot of things in my setup where I can automatically capture things in the vertical format
I'm guessing you
to
use
make it a lot easier.
the thing that Harris Heller built with what's the name
Yeah,
of the
so
company?
the Atom vertical
Atom.
plugin, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so definitely use that. I've got that all automated, so if anyone clips, it automatically creates a vertical clip as well, all on my Google Drive, so I can edit it wherever I want. But yeah, no, so I definitely work smarter, not harder, as it were.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely use my content from certain places in other places to kind of. But I use those like things like TikTok and the shorts on YouTube are very much kind of like a funnel to bring people back to the main content, which is the Twitch and the YouTube long form.
I think there's something else around that which I think it's been more and more recently, but it sort of happened to myself. I know back in the day, I created content on YouTube, which did I don't know, hit an algorithm. I don't know why. They did pretty well, did bring people over, but it was other bigger content creators that saw that actually helped me.
Right.
Because so I know my big break was I was streaming and a massive streamer within the category hosted me. And the reason he hosted, I don't know if you do this. I went back and watched the last like minute or two before they decided who they were going to host. And the reason was because he saw the video on YouTube,
Right.
and agreed with something I said, and then hosted, I don't know, with like 900 people or whatever. And then after that, it was, life gets easier. But I think you have to make that off-platform content, right?
Yeah.
And you keep doing it, and something will hit eventually.
Yeah.
But I think it happens more and more with the whole React content. So you could have a smaller video get reacted by a massive creator, which could really help you too.
Yeah, 100%.
What's your thoughts on that though? Because I know some people actually don't like the fact that they're not getting the views because this bigger creator is watching it. They're going to get the view. How do you see that?
It's a double-edged sword. Like again, if all you care about is views, then yeah, it is unfortunate when somebody uses your content for their content. But again, that personally isn't something that affects me or bothers me. As long as people see the content and enjoy it, and like we said earlier, if it funnels people to my wider content, fantastic. I do genuinely believe that it's all about that like trickle down, like funneling people to your content, so that maybe eventually they decide they want to stay around, become a supporter, everything else. Yeah, I think that the short form. I think nowadays with me being a prime example of like somebody who got in through the lockdown, so many people did that. It is. I don't. It's not oversaturated, but it is definitely a lot more people trying to create now, and standing out and putting in the extra effort to be seen. I think you need to do things like the short form content, make stuff on other platforms that brings you to your main platform. It's. I don't think there's a way to succeed otherwise nowadays.
No. Where have you found your most success? Which has been the avenue that so far has hit the short shelf or the TikTok shelf? Or whatever it is?
Wildly, the YouTube Shorts of I think they're. I don't know if it's just because there's a Wild West on the algorithm at the moment because it's still relatively new in the grand scheme of things. But I find the YouTube's like you'll. I've definitely done the thing of reposting in multiple places. I'll put it on TikTok and I'll put it on YouTube. And YouTube by far and away always does the bigger numbers. I think it's just people spend more time on YouTube.
And I feel like YouTube is turning the dial a little bit. I did that experiment at the beginning of last month with shorts. I don't know if you saw. I think you maybe commented on one or two of them for the Kwalee crew for Kwalee's gaming. So I did that experiment, and every one of them hit the shelf very luckily. And it's crazy to see the way the algorithm works. It's like between 0 minutes and 20 minutes, it tests it on people. If it likes it, it hits the shelf between 20 and 50 minutes.
Yep.
And then by the hour, you've got like the most views you're going to get, and then they trickle in after that. But you've got like a window. And I don't know if you've done this yet, but I had one video that I think it hit like 300 views. And I was like, that's not as good as the other ones. I took it down, reposted it the next day at a slightly different time. And then I think it's on like 2,000 views now. So I think there's a lot of that as well. Taking it off, put it on. Craziness.
Yeah, recognizing the time when your content's going to hit for your obviously for your demographic and your market. I've got a good split between UK and US.
Yeah.
On mine, so it's very much a kind of finding that middle ground. I think usually around 4 p.m. onwards is a good mix for mine. Like a lot of UK people finishing work, sitting on the bus scrolling, things like that. And then obviously you've got the US side waking up in the morning. So there's definitely I've definitely done the whole thing of like I've put a video up on YouTube. It is, let's say, bombed. Not hit the shelf at all, and then I'll take it down and repost it, and next thing you know, it's like 2,000 views.
Anyway, Paul, I better go. I know you've got a stream. Have a good stream, and
cheers,
we need to do something like this again.
Yes, I'm down.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I love talking crap about video games, so always down.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and have a good rest of your day.